anything is possible. And the crowd absolutely love it. This is why we love Formula One.
It was intense, it was chaotic from even before the start. A retirement from Carlos Sainz as his car caught a light, delayed the start, and then it was action from lights out. Antonelli collided with Max Verstappen, taking both of them out of the race. And from that moment onwards, all eyes were just on two drivers, Lando Norris against Oscar Piastri, and they were allowed to fight to the very end. But it was an amazing 1-2 finish, but with Lando Norris taking the spoils and Oscar Piastri, current championship leader in P2. A great moment for Ferrari as well. Charles Leclerc back on the podium in P3 and Lewis Hamilton just behind. Guys, I mean, so much to unpick, but we've got to talk about the story of the day. McLaren, first of all, some of the most beautiful wheel-to-wheel racing that we have seen this season. It was just amazing to watch two of the best drivers in the world going head-to-head. Davide?
Yeah, I loved it. I was surprised how Norris handled the situation so well, because having the pressure of Piastri for the first 20 laps is not easy, and he managed it very, very well, so I was extremely happy for him. And I got surprised by Piastri, because looking his weekend, I didn't thought he was strong enough and has the pace enough to fight Norris for the victory. So surprised me once again, because you can never count Piastri out for anything. That's why probably he's the leading of the championship. And nothing, great battle. I really enjoy it. McLaren let them drive how they want, and yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, the main story of the day is McLaren whitewashed the field, isn't it? That's the pace advantage which they had. And respect and thank you to McLaren for letting the two drivers race, because that gave us so much action. Lando Norris coming out on top of the two, and after they clashed in Canada, clearly Lando Norris's fault. He owned up for that one. I think it was a really important race for Lando to take home the victory in. Draws a line under that. They raced hard between them as well, without coming to blows, although there are a couple of close moments here and there, a couple of moments that I'm sure had Andrea Stella backing away from the screen on the pit wall for McLaren. But yeah, Lando Norris, I think, with that, draws a line under Canada, and they move through and demonstrate such strength at this phase of the season.
They really do. And just generally, though, you know, as a race, it was a really busy one. It was difficult conditions. There was traffic out on track. The tyre temperatures were really hard to manage. Overall, it was a very tricky one.
I think there was a bigger distance on pace, to be honest, between McLaren, then Ferrari, and then Mercedes than I was expecting. I mean, we talked about this track being one of the shorter racing laps of the year. We expected incredibly fine margins between the cars, Davide, but actually, you know, I think the temperature generates the performance differential that we've seen between the cars.
Yeah, and created a lot of troubles also to the driver, because we need to consider that 50 degrees asphalt, 31 degrees the temperature, and having Piastri always in the DRS zone for the first 20 laps. We saw them just before the podium. They were, you know, they were proved. I mean, they felt it. So Piastri, the focus and the concentration that you need to stay in the DRS zone. So under a second to the car in front of you, I mean, it's stressful. So I could get why they were tired, and I could get why was a great victory for Norris, because it was not an easy one. Well done to him.
No, exactly. We are going to do more analysis on McLaren's race. But first, let's bring in Esteban Ocon. Come and join us. Congratulations.
Thank
a point today. Well done.
Thank
Great race.
Yeah, thank you. It was a tough one. Quite warm out there. Also, I didn't have a drink in the car, so you know it was a bit long. But yeah, good fun. Hard-fought race. Bit too tight at times. A bit too much wheel banging. But as we were not qualified well, you know, we had to make it a tough race and try and come back and do things. So we did so. Happy.
Good, excellent.
Esteban, I spoke to Ayo on the grid, who said we have to do something different. You ran the double hard strategy to try and make the difference. Proving to be the right strategy in the end? I mean, I guess you got points, so it can't be that far bad.
I think, honestly, we would have tried any strategy, we would have get 10s today. You know, the one stop or the two, you know, with the medium. We kind of, you know, got the position and settled it, you know, after that first hard. We made, you know, most of the work between the first, you know, stop and just before stopping for the second one. So I need to review with the guys, but that's my feeling at the moment. Yeah, it was very tough out there, but, you know, we need to find a bit more qualifying pace. Definitely, that's the aim.
Yeah, it was interesting on this side because usually the strategy is the key for your race, but seems that the strategy is we trust in the driver and we'll see. Because your overtake for the 10th position, tell me.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
not a bad one, eh?
No, it was nice. It was nice. Thank you, Davide. I appreciate. Yeah, I think that was the cleanest one. You know, you need to see the others. The others, I flew over the sausage curve. You know, that was different. But no, I mean, there's a lot of work going on to try and pick up the best strategies. I think the team has done, you know, a great job of trying to optimize the race, especially from where we come from. Try and use the race pace. It's 2 races in a row where we're scoring points, which is the positive today. But we need to find more performance for Silverstone because that would be tough if we start from the back.
Yeah, you've seen what's happened with Sauber this weekend. You know, they put a new floor on the car. It could be specific to this circuit, but the performance is much better. Are you getting left behind a little bit on the upgrade cycle now?
Was there in Barcelona or it was here, the update? Do you know?
They brought a new floor here.
Ah, here as well?
Yes.
Okay, because I heard there was something in Barcelona, so it's twice. So it makes sense that they are so fast. We'll see next week. Yeah, hopefully we will have something.
Good.
You had a nice little battle with Colapinto there.
Yeah. Always fun to race. It was a bit tight on that side, but good fun. You know, we had a chat with Franco afterwards. That's the one which was a bit too tight for my likings. Because my car went in neutral. I thought I broke the gearbox at that stage. So yeah, that scared me a little bit. But yeah, we were wheel to wheel for I think 2 laps in a row. Because in the first team we fight, on that last one we fought again. So yeah, as I said, we need to make a little bit better Saturdays to have a bit more chill days on Sunday.
So how are you going to make that happen before Silverstone next week? Different conditions, I expect. It won't be quite so warm.
Oh yeah, are you saying?
I am predicting that yes, England will be cold. Yes, I've lived there most of my life.
well, if it's 5 or 7 degrees less, it's not a bad thing. We
I
can
can pretty
breathe
much guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff, Esteban. Congratulations.
Thank
well
you very
done.
much.
And,
Thank you. See you guys soon.
Enjoy a moment to relax, but there's not long, is it? They really don't have a minute. There'll be a team debrief, fly home, and then it will all be fully focused into Silverstone next
I'm
week.
insulted. The British summertime is going to be glorious. Glorious at Silverstone.
Glorious for us
Davide,
is 23 degrees.
Davide
Come on,
is
let's be
looking
honest.
very tenuous about British summer.
Anyway, they are always there. Eh? Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Team Haas because fight for the last few points. Every race, they are in the mix. Sometimes they can, sometimes they miss, but they're always there. Congratulations. Race pace, amazing.
A great, great story. I'm slightly nervous that we jinxed what was going on at Williams because we gave them such a brilliant build-up, you know, with James Vowles joining the team and being there, you know, for the foreseeable future. And then to retire, well, both cars, one even before the race. I mean, what a disappointment. And they obviously...
And Albon was also good because
Exactly.
Albon was very, very well placed in the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame for Williams. It's not been the strongest weekend for them anyway. You know, it wasn't a great qualifying performance for either Williams car. But yeah, you never like to lose a car before the green flag. And we've heard from both drivers in the pen, and neither of them are quite sure exactly what's gone on with the cars. But hopefully we'll hear from James Vowles a little later on. But they didn't have pace this weekend or reliability, the 2 fundamentals of motorsport.
But that is the worrying thing, isn't it, when you're sitting scratching your head and you're not quite sure what is going on with the car. Well, there is plenty more analysis coming your way, but just in case you missed all the race action, here is a reminder of how the Austrian Grand Prix went down.
from Spielberg in Austria. This blockbuster season continues. And the Grand Prix is underway. Oscar Piastri roars around the outside and takes second position. Antonelli, he's hit Max Verstappen at turn 3.
I got hit. Idiots.
Sorry about that. Locked the rear.
The two McLarens are side by side again, like they were in Canada, but it's not for 4th place, it's for the lead of the Grand Prix.
This is absolutely brilliant stuff.
Gabriel Bortoleto trying to score his first points today. Just a waft to the inside, looking for more, locking up.
The manoeuvre in turn 4 with the front lockup was too marginal. We can't do that again.
Colapinto with a late braking move. Sonoda trying to repay the favour. They make contact and they spin. Sonoda and Colapinto. Oscar Piastri onto the grass.
This is ridiculous.
So many questions, and Lando had the answers. Lando Norris wins in a massive result for the World Championship.
A very, very special moment indeed for Lando Norris, taking his 3rd win of the season. But let's dissect some of that inter-team battle on track. Because Piastri, you know, he managed to capitalise on the opportunity at the start of the race, moving ahead of Leclerc into P2. And then it was unleashed. The two drivers head-to-head. Wasn't it great?
Yeah, was impressive. Let's stay together because it was something unbelievable. You were right. Leclerc started very well, but then Piastri took immediately the position, and there started the fight. Piastri behind, Norris in front, DRS open. Let's see if he got it right. Well closed the door from Norris. Piastri tried the outside, he jumped him, and then Norris opened the line to just have a better exit, and the use of the DRS was very clever and smart on that move, and on the outside he dived into him and turn 4, so he got overtaken, but then he gave it back immediately after one corner. Was very clever and probably the key moment of his race. That one. And look, later on, he tried on the inside immediately, Piastri, but Norris was using this outside line maybe for conserving the rear tires. He could get the position, could maintain the position. That was a very interesting move. Look at the mistake. I think lap 16, he went wide penultimate corner, and then again in the last one, it seems that he was pulling away, but no, Piastri again, he was on his back, he tried, but no, that was tough, that was tough. He almost missed that break and crashed into Norris. That was a very close call. In fact, the team didn't like it, and I think that he opened the radio just after the pit stop and said,
He did apologise, didn't he? He came over the radio.
Oscar, feedback from the pit wall. The manoeuvre in turn 4 with the front lockup was too marginal. We can't do that again.
So, you know, respect to McLaren for letting the two of them race, but I really think here, you're either letting them race or you're not. You know, when you talk to your engineer and over the radio or in the garage and go, I've not got enough front wing. Your engineer goes, I've got too much understeer. Engineer goes, okay, I'm going to put some front wing on. You don't go, oh, but not that much. You know, they've got to let the drivers do the job in this instance. So respect to McLaren for letting them race, but I agree with DC in commentary that's what is he supposed to do with that information? Clearly, they have their papaya rules, their understanding of racing respect down at McLaren. They've allowed the drivers to race and respected them for that. We saw some brilliant racing between the pair of them through the 70 laps. But there, I think they've just got to let them get on with it and understand that that's the risk that they take if they let them go wheel to wheel.
You could hear, though, he was quite apologetic, Piastri, with that incident. Do you think that is important when it comes to the team dynamics there, or is he just saying, all right, guys, you know, I'll take a breath?
I think it's a sense of the control that McLaren still have over the two of them. That when told that that's too much, Oscar Piastri immediately defers to the team. And, you know, there have obviously been conversations after Canada as well, you would expect there to be. What's clear is it's boiled over once. McLaren have wrestled back control of these two contenders.
Yeah.
But, you know, Piastri had an opportunity to win that race, I think, strategically and on track. If he'd found a little bit more pace on the hard tyre or pitted slightly earlier onto that hard tyre, he might well have taken more of a fight to Norris.
Very quick from my side. The conduct of McLaren was unbelievable and perfect. He tried, he missed the chance, he almost crashed into Norris. Stop, it's done.
And he reined it back in.
That's for me was the point. And thanks to them, we had a great show at the beginning. So.
What about pit stops? Because it felt like, obviously, you know, Lando Norris was in charge of taking the first pit stop. He went, I think, lap 21. But then you've got Piastri, who was also trying to manage the flat spot on his tyre and had to pit about 5 laps later. Is that Lando Norris showing that he had command of the race?
I think that they tried to give the Piastri the chance to have a different strategy, to go longer, but then probably that flat stop was not a big one.
Yeah.
But anyway, was a difficulties for him for having a good rhythm, and so didn't work out so well. That was dangerous anyway. He tried, and then he realized that he was too far behind. He held the brake a bit longer, and he flat spot the front right. I mean, if there was a collision there, both McLaren out, you cannot imagine. I mean, could be the end of the world for them on the sporting side. So I agree with the strategy.
Yeah, that's on the drivers. That's on the drivers, though, isn't it? Not to collide with each other as they did in Canada. I mean, I think it's on Piastri as well, the strategy. McLaren were really clear with him. What do you want to do? Do you want to have more of a tyre delta and more of a gap, or less of a tyre? Basically, how far do you want to go into this race to give yourself the better tyre performance and the opportunity to take Lando? Of course, foregoing the gap which Lando was taking away from him every lap before Piastri pitted. Piastri chose the bigger gap on the hard tyre. If he'd chosen differently, I think it probably could have worked out better. They looked very similar on pace on that hard tyre, and Piastri better, definitely, in the final stint on the medium, which would have put him closer. That loss of a couple of seconds, I think, probably the difference in the end.
What I thought was just so interesting to see and actually hear over the radio as well is just how you had two sides of the garage working totally against each other, and yet there was also still a united front. That's not easy to manage.
And I liked also when Norris in the radio, the pace is not there, help me.
Yeah,
I love you, Norris,
please.
come on. Usually
it was a cry,
come
wasn't
on,
it?
the pace is not there, help me, please. I mean, I love this guy. And I think that he did a very good race. Not easy to handle this type of pressure. Usually is the type of race that if you can win it, maybe can change your mentality for the next few races. We'll see.
Yeah, he needed just a few more laps, didn't he, at the end? But a fascinating battle from McLaren. It would have been great to see Ferrari and Mercedes with more total pace and to open it up to a couple more teams.
Guys, we need to get ready to give a massive round of applause. Gabriel Bortoleto, first points in your Formula One season. Congratulations. Well done. How does it feel to put some points on the board?
Feels great, finally. You know, I think it's great for the team, for everyone's confidence. I think everyone deserves it after such a clean weekend like we had, always in the top 10. To finish like this, both cars in the points, is amazing.
It has been an absolutely phenomenal weekend. You know, you brought the performance in practice and it has just continued. Is it going to continue into Silverstone next week?
I hope so. I mean, if this guy is watching the high speeds, you know, like in the video.
We did it, yes.
Yes, probably yes. Hopefully we're as quick as we were here, and we do a good job there.
Talk to us about the battle with Fernando at the end. Was the pass potentially on? Do you think you could have had to be searching for a new manager after the race?
Well, actually, it was, you know, when I was approaching him, I was like, okay, he's not gonna give me such a hard time, you know. I can catch Lawson here and everything. But man, when I arrived, it looked like the guy was fighting for the World Championship. You know, it was amazing. We had such a great fight, and he just shows his level of experience and talent, you know, was just amazing. He gave me a hug just after we finished the race, and he said he was super happy for me. So
I mean, how cool is that?
Amazing.
Out of all the drivers in the world to go
I mean, I'm
head-to-head
fighting
to
with my
learn from
manager.
Alonso.
Yeah, I'm fighting with my manager. It's the best thing. but at the same time you cannot do any mistake, because then it can be dangerous.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Talk to us about the balance of the car here, though, because you look like you were similar to the Mercedes. Yeah, okay, it's a hot day, but similar to the Mercedes on pace throughout the race. Had a really good balance in qualifying. You know, is it a circuit-specific thing, or have you moved the car generally forward into the back end of the points?
Look, honestly, I wish I can tell you it's every time, but I really don't know. We need to see in the next tracks. You know, I feel like we have gone in a right direction. It will depend on how the track layout is. You know, I think Red Bull Ring is one of the best tracks for our car, and we have shown this weekend. But hopefully we can be fighting for points like we have been this weekend and consistently in the top 10. But it was quite crazy when I was actually catching Russell. I was like, what is going on here? Like, are we in different strategies or what? But no, it's just pure pace, you know.
Amazing stuff. Well, we will let you get back to hopefully some well-earned celebrations. Hopefully Alonso will have the champagne flowing for you.
He will.
Brilliant stuff there. And of course Hulkenberg as well. He qualified right down at the back to also finish in the points. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was actually a brilliant drive from Hulkenberg. I spent about 10 minutes trying to work out how he'd arrived in the top 10, but he pitted early off the soft and then a monster undercut on everyone. The real smart stuff, though, was the final stint from Hulkenberg, where he was forced to pit early as a result of that and then maintained the pace through to the end of the race. They've really found something, haven't they, at Sauber? Yeah. And the pace for both drivers was genuinely, you know, in line with where they finished. There was, you know, okay, they needed to use a bit of strategy to get Hulkenberg up towards the front of the field, but when he arrived there, yeah, the pace merited exactly where they finished.
Well, should we find out how the boss is feeling? Let's go to Sauber team principal Jonathan Wheatley with 4 points in the bag this weekend.
Jonathan, huge congratulations on that result. Double points finish. I mean, how great does that feel? When we spoke here yesterday, we were happy. You must be ecstatic now.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating with being lapped towards the end there. You know, we thought we were on for an even better finishing position, and isn't that a wonderful thing to be talking about, that we felt that we could have been better. Look, we've put some performance on the car. The drivers feel incredibly confident with it. It was a solid team performance today, and yeah, I mean, it's just, you can see the energy in the team. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen lots of members of the team high-fiving each other and big smiles on everyone's face. You said that you've taken things a step forward with the car, but what particularly has led to this gain in performance?
I think it's just the tools all agreeing with each other, you know, and you get this every now and then in Formula One. You get it where the upgrades that you put on the car, everything that you're doing in the factory, all of the tools, all of the correlations, right, and it delivers. And look, we're here now. It's a bit of a shame it's the last year of this set of technical regulations and there isn't a few more years of it.
Always the way. Well done. We'll let you to go and celebrate with the team. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, some well-deserved celebrations indeed. Congratulations to Sauber. Let's have a chat about some of the rookies. Obviously, we have to kick off with Kimi Antonelli. I mean, he held up his hand instantly. He came over the radio and just said, sorry, guys, I locked the rears. It was a racing incident, but he's taken out Max Verstappen, which I guess is what happens when you qualify in P7. You're suddenly in the melee pack, you're in the mid pack, and you can get caught up in these kind of moments, particularly at the start of the race.
Yeah, but I can understand everything, but the mistake at the end was big, and I'm sorry for it, because he just gets surprised in the braking point of the car in front of them. Seems that they surprise him, and then he forced on brake. He avoid by luck the two cars in front of him and then crash into Verstappen. Seems that his braking point was just 20 meters later than the other, and he missed a bit of probably, I don't know, lack of experience. He got surprised, but that mistake was big because was the only one to have that mistake at the start, while all the others were caution, and ended up in saving the race of the two cars in front of me, could be even worse, but then hitting Verstappen that was 4 cars behind, in front. So at the end, it's big, and I'm sorry for him.
You know, some mistakes you can put down to being a rookie in Formula One, but unfortunately that's not one of them, you know. He's been here in other series. He knows the nature of the corner. He knows the nature of a single-seater start, and he's right to hold his hands up to that one. I think he also goes over and has a word with Max Verstappen, who I think is very sporting, actually, to appear to understand the incident. But yeah, Antonelli's just going to have to brush that one off and learn from it. The point you do make, though, Nikki, is it is huge for the championship. You know, we talked about those gaps at the front of the field and a DNF being unopposed points then delivered to everyone else. Is that a nail in the coffin of Verstappen's championship hopes, especially with a dominant McLaren taking off 30 seconds into the lead?
Well, it looked like after that moment, there was... Max Verstappen didn't seem as maybe angry as you would have maybe expected. There was a little bit of a chat between them. Shall we find out what Max says in his post-race interview?
Hey Max, obviously commiserations, your race didn't last that long out there today. Just what did you make of watching the replays and just from when you were in the car, how that all unfolded?
Unlucky, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I spoke quickly to Kimi also. He came even to the hospitality. I mean, yeah, you know, I think every driver has made a mistake like that. You know, no one does that on purpose as well. So for me, that's not a big deal.
Overall, the weekend just been generally difficult. I know we didn't see the pace of the car today, but just how much work have Red Bull got to do to haul yourselves back into the fight at the front? Yeah,
it was not the weekend that I guess we hoped for, pace-wise. Then, of course, also we were a little bit unlucky in qualifying with that yellow flag. Otherwise, you start a bit further ahead. And then, yeah, the race was unlucky again. Sometimes you have those weekends.
All right, hard luck. Thanks.
And huge consequences, of course, because that gap to just Norris ahead extends from 21 to 46. But from one Red Bull driver to another, Liam Lawson, congratulations. An excellent points finish today. How do you reflect on today's race?
Thank you. Yeah, very, very happy. Very, very proud of the team. It's been a very tough year, honestly. And although sometimes, you know, you feel good in the car, you feel confident and comfortable, it's felt like that for a lot of races now, and the results haven't reflected it. So to pull it through this weekend, I'm just stoked for the team, and especially outside of the garage, who's been working really hard.
Liam, it was a great qualifying from you, but it did put you in harm's way up towards turn 3. Talk us through the avoidance up there, because you were just telling us it was really close.
Yeah, I thought I was done, honestly. When I saw Kimi coming locked up, I saw the replay now, and I guess he was avoiding. It obviously wasn't on purpose, but yeah, at the time I was like, okay, this is going to be game over. And then sometimes it aligns for you, and somehow we got out of it. And the team, from what felt like a brave call with the one stop today, obviously they knew, and it's been a lot of work to come to that conclusion, and it's worked for us today.
How hard was it to make the one-stopper work? You had to do a lot of time management. You had Bortoletto actually battling with Alonso behind you, which I think kept you out of trouble. Was it difficult with the tyre?
It's just always Fernando, who's within. He was within DRS for 71 laps, I think, today, and it's just you know you just can't make any mistake, and he knows what he's doing as well. He's very good with his tyres, and for us, we had good speed before the DRS zones, which is where we needed it. I think that's what saved us. I spoke to him afterwards. He actually felt like I was quicker, so I was sure he was quicker than us. But I think he was using that DRS. So yeah.
And tell me about. You said that in some races that you're feeling the speed, but how you could extract that performance in quali? Why we realized from outside that only this time you had the speed that you felt in the last few races?
I think sometimes it feels, I think, you know, practice at the last few races, Canada, Barcelona, Monaco have all been strong in practice, and we go to quali and the tyres are so sensitive this year. Everything is so sensitive.
Yeah, struggle with this red compound at the end.
To convert, it's sometimes you come out and you're like, what just happened? So it's been one of those things this year, but at the same time, a lot of work from outside of the garage to get me more comfortable with this car, and this weekend is for sure something that has been I would say a bit of a turning point, but at the same time, I have felt good for a while. So a lot of variables in Formula One, a lot of things that need to align, and today they did.
Well, Liam Lawson, congratulations. Enjoy this moment. P6, best finish this season. We'll send you back on your way. I'm sure they got the champagne waiting for you. Thank you to Liam Lawson there. Now, we did kick off on the grid. We were talking to Christian Horner about his expectations ahead of this race. I don't think he would have predicted what happened. He's now speaking to Ariana.
Christian, can we have an assessment on the day and also on the incidents with both drivers?
Yeah, look, a frustrating day. Starting with Max, he had a great start, was well positioned. Turn 1, turn 3, unfortunately Kimi just lost control and wiped him out. So, yeah, very frustrating. Obviously Kimi's apologized. It is what it is. But, I think when you look at the pace, we wouldn't have fought the McLarens today, but we would have fought the Ferraris hard for sure. George had no pace. So yeah, it was frustrating. And with Yuki, obviously difficult to make progress from starting where he did on the grid and then picking up a penalty as well. With Colapinto. So yeah, a horrible race for him today as well. So yeah, frustrating, but we'll move on quickly to Silverstone.
Yeah, really disappointing, and of course here at your home race as well. But that second seat, I mean, even before the incident between Yuki and Franco, Yuki wasn't quite in the mix for the points in order to pick up where Verstappen would have lost out. Can you just talk to us about how you remedy this second seat struggles and how you make sure that second driver is up there so that you are able to capitalise on something when Max Verstappen, who's right behind us now, has an unfortunate day like today out of his control?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we need to understand with Yuki what's gone wrong because, P1, P2, well, certainly P2 and P3, he was looking okay. Qualifying, it seemed to fall apart from him. And then when you're out of position, you're down the pack like that, when it's so tight, he's struggling. I think he's struggling for confidence, but we'll work with him. We'll try and help him, through it. And, the car is it's a car that's evolved over the years. Around the development path that we've taken, and it isn't an easy car to drive, but it's not that difficult either. So we'll work with him, and hopefully it'll make a step up in Silverstone.
And just a brief word in terms of the championship battle now. McLaren at 1-2, that gap to Max increasing unfortunately after a DNF. How do you see that going?
Well, look, I mean, I think the championship we're not even thinking about. So. We're just focused on each race now, and they're a long way out of touch. We'll just take things race by race.
Thank you for talking with us,
Thank you very
Christian.
much.
Unfortunate day, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it will have to be a time, won't it? Red Bull will have to regather quickly. And at some point, are we going to start to see some performance from Tsunoda? I mean, another penalty for collisions.
Yeah, today was a disaster, to be honest. Not very lucky, but then it was never perfect in the fight and in the battle between the others. And so he had a contact, penalty, he had another contact, he risked another penalty. I mean, was not his day. I think that some other drivers race much better than him. Alonso always in the point, Bortoleto. I mean, many drivers better than him. I'm sorry.
Should we now talk about your favourite?
Who is?
Ferrari!
Ah, he's on the podium, man. I told you.
So very happy that Leclerc is on the podium. But let's talk about Hamilton for a moment, because he equals his best finish this season. So you would have thought he would be happy with that result, but quite disgruntled on the radio, particularly when it was coming to that second pit stop, saying, guys, why are you pitting me here? Tyres are okay. I'm good. I've got the pace. Do I have to come in? He did actually come in, but what was going on there? Was he kind of disagreeing with the strategy? Did he want to stay out?
He wanted something different from the strategy. We need to understand also the perspective of the driver. At that time, he was fourth, behind Leclerc. Maybe slightly slower than him, maybe 1/10 per lap. Leclerc was pulling away slowly. He wanted something different. But if you change the perspective and you go on the team perspective, they are third and fourth. Leclerc was a bit better in quali, was slightly better in the race. He had a good start. Come on, there's no way to try something different. Anyway, was a good race from Hamilton, but being beaten by the teammate once again, probably for him was too much, and he wanted something different.
Yeah, try and roll the dice and play a strategic move. And also, not a position he's being used to, being beaten by his teammates. Anyway, let's go down to Ariana now, who is with Andrea Stella from McLaren.
Andrea, huge congratulations.
Thank you very much.
1-2, that's the result you want for the team. I mean, your drivers delivered some absolutely incredible racing for us fans, but how was it for you and the team watching?
Well, we are very proud of our two drivers, first of all, for how fast they are, and then for the way they raced. We want, you know, we are here to race. We let them race and try to achieve their own ambitions and aspirations, as long as we do that within our principles and approach, which is not only the team principles and approach, but is also theirs. And today they did it very well. There was only a situation in corner 4, if anything, where Oscar locked the tires. We gave him a bit of feedback that that was a bit too far. And when Oscar crossed the line at the end of the race, he immediately came on the radio and said, sorry for that situation. Yeah, my responsibility, but it's all good. And it is all good.
A fantastic result in both championships for yourself and the wider team. What is it like at the moment within the team, the atmosphere, with both drivers battling for that top spot in the drivers?
Well, first of all, the atmosphere is, first word I would use is focus and concentration, because we have seen in Canada that both from a performance point of view, but also from a racing point of view, if you get distracted a little bit, we don't win races anymore, and we even managed to have a contact between our two cars, which in that situation, it was just a misjudgment, like nobody wanted to show the muscles. It was just a very benign situation, which actually gave us the opportunity to review, gave us the opportunity to have good conversations, and I think that situation has actually led us to be stronger and even more united, which we've proven here, and I see that this will be the case for the remainder of the season.
Oh, it's great to hear and a great result. Well done once again. Thank you for
very
talking
much.
with us.
Thanks.
Lovely stuff, Arianna. Thank you for that interview. Always good to hear a very level head from Andrea Stella. Now it's time to take a look at the weekend schedule coming up already this Thursday. Can you believe it? It's the British Grand Prix. And we kick things off with our weekend warm-up. Don't miss it. Laura Winter will be back leading the show. And then we will have our 2 practice session on Friday as normal, practice and qualifying on Saturday, and then pre-race show 2 o'clock on Sunday. And lights go out at 3 o'clock for the Formula One Qatar Airways British Grand Prix. Oh, it's going to be good, isn't it? A home race for Lando Norris, a track that he knows so well. And yet, will that bring the pressure that we have seen from him not do well under in the past?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for that. It's going to be interesting also for Leclerc, if he can confirm that performance, the battle into the McLaren team. Norris is in a perfect shape. Piastri is an incredible tough man, and we saw him today. During the weekend was always behind Norris, and during all this race, putting pressure on him. I mean, I think both of them were special. We're going to enjoy it.
Do you think this weekend, though, Lando has kind of ironed out all of that pressure that he puts on himself going into Q3, because he performed really well, in fact, in all of the qualifying?
I think that his critical point yesterday, he did it amazing, he did it perfectly. He had an amazing qualify, and the qualify for him was easier than the race. Usually in the last few races we saw his race pace much better than qualify result. This weekend was the opposite. In qualify, bam! And in the race, with Piastri always behind. But anyway, was a great battle, and I hope it's going to continue in the next few races. We heard Stella, they are free to battle until a certain point where they try to collide, and so I'm sure that we're going to see again in England some battle into the team.
Exactly. Well, as well as the British Grand Prix being a firm favourite on the calendar, so is Las Vegas. But if you are not willing to wait for November when that racing happens, we actually sent Laura and Lawrence to check out this. This is the Las Vegas Grand Prix Plaza.
Welcome to the heart of speed and spectacle, Grand Prix Plaza.
There's an incredible experience inside, and we're going to go check it out.
Spanning 39 acres and anchored by the world's largest pit building, this is Formula One like you've never seen before.
Look at the level of detail here.
Incredible.
And when the Grand Prix isn't in town, this epic pit building is still open year-round.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Laura Winter and Lawrence Bretto get all the boring jobs, don't they? Get to fly out to Las Vegas to have fun and that. I mean, amazing. You can now experience Formula One like never before. Click on that QR code and you can find out more. I think it is time for a bit of a conclusion. How do we reflect on this race weekend?
That probably the battle for the championship is over from Verstappen, and that is a bit sad, but he lost a big chance today. Not his fault, but the team was not performing so well anyway this weekend, Red Bull. And the battle is incredible on for the two McLaren drivers, because once again, after a backup, after a trouble in Canada for Norris, what a turnaround for him today. So it's going to be with more and more pressure in the next few events, so we're going to join more.
What a turnaround indeed. Possibly the sign of a world champion. Who knows? We will find out soon. Now, if you can't wait until Thursday for more racing action, make sure you go and check out the F1 movie if you haven't seen it already, or if you have, go and watch it twice. It is absolutely brilliant. We've absolutely loved watching it, and Lewis Hamilton billed it as the best racing movie period. So do go check it out. Thank you so much for joining us over the course of this whole weekend and joining us for our post-race show and all the analysis. We've loved bringing it to you. Make sure you do join us on Thursday. We will be heading to the British Grand Prix. Laura Winter will be back to talk you through all of the action, and we cannot wait to find out, will Lando Norris triumph on home soil, or will Oscar Piastri get in his way? Bring it on.
We meet again at Silverstone for this famous race.
Welcome to Silverstone.
And the British Grand Prix is go!
Norris has come alive.
What a move!
This is the British Grand Prix.
Hamilton roaring through to take the lead. Silverstone will go supersonic.